Welcome back to the BTI Podcast. Today, the crew talks Sea Otter Classic, epic rides, new builds, and industry. Enjoy.
Let's dive right into it.
Yeah, that's right, Pete, man. Season is in full swing. Races, events, tons of work coming across the bench. It feels like summer. What can I say?
That's right. Finally into the season, and it's kind of been reassuring from the industry side. We see a lot of folks are still riding bikes. There's a lot of good bike sales, bike parts sales, we should say. I think from the BTI side, we're enthused that the COVID is over. People are still riding bikes, buying bike parts. We have jobs, and we hope that our friends out in the industry have jobs too.
Yeah, seems to be some doom and gloom out there, but, on the whole, things could have ended up a lot worse. The bike industry has certainly fared worse periods of time, and you were just at Sea Otter. What was the vibe?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think everyone was a little apprehensive, right? There was kind of a vibe, I would say, at the beginning. Everyone wanted to know, how are things doing? How are we doing? How's Sea Otter even going to be? And but overall, I would say brands were pretty positive. It was cool to hear people were excited about the season and positive about the outlook going forward. At least from the parts manufacturers, I could say I felt a little different note coming from complete bike vendors, but luckily that's not who I deal with. So it was much more positive from the parts side of thing. And but yeah, there sure was a lot of questions about that. How was everything looking for you? That sort of thing. Sea Otter's crazy though. It's a whirlwind. It's a 4-day event. We pack into 2 days. We're in and out. I wish I could stay longer and watch racing and have a great time, but it's work.
Yeah, man. Give us a rundown of the highlights of your trip. Spill the beans or spill the tea, whatever the kids are saying, man.
I get that question a lot. What was the coolest thing you saw here today? And, my answer is well, I had a whole bunch of my business meetings. I didn't get to explore new things that I didn't already know about. Or if I do hear about new things, then I usually have to sign an NDA and can't talk about them. So I did see some cool new stuff. Actually, it's been highlighted a little bit on Pink Bike lately, so I can talk somewhat about the E13 hub, the upcoming pretty cool advancement. I don't really know the details, but it felt neat, different. A product advancement that could bring some excitement back for the brand. And I think they have quality product, but they've had a rough time with some of the OE stuff. So cool if they can regain that reputation they used to have with good stuff.
Well, I certainly can't wait to open one up whenever that may be.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the inside, so it will be really interested to see what's going on
kind
inside.
Of a black box right now. Bit of magic in there, huh?
They just had it on a bike, and I could
buyers
pick
know
up
your
the
black
bike.
Box intel. I love it. I wonder what's in there.
Drape a coat over the bike.
What's in there?
Can't see the new
behind the curtain
stuff. That's right.
It's exciting. It's exciting to hear that new stuff is coming out. I feel like it's kind of lacking on definitely lacking some exciting releases. So
yeah, that was part of the COVID thing, right? There was so much
everything
sales
got put
to be
off
made
because everyone's just swimming.
Exactly. Yeah, I think bike brands, we even see the big bike brands held off on bike releases that are ready because they had too much old product. So it does seem like we're probably beyond that, and we've got a lot of new stuff already came out. I read that the 2 weeks before Sea Otter were the most releases we had seen in years, and I think there's still a lot more to come, is my understanding.
All these bike companies, I hope all the bike shops are doing well too. Seems like everyone's been jamming in service, booked out. So definitely good to see.
That's what we like to hear. Heck yeah.
Yeah, we certainly see that represented in our service centers. Definitely busy at the moment.
What's the lead time at BTI right now?
For factory service, sitting at about 3 weeks on average.
So that's much longer than you want to be, right?
Right. We usually shoot for a week at the most.
That seems very good, a week, but 3 weeks, yeah, we get it. It's the height of the season.
We
pride
get ourselves on that turnaround.
Yeah, a week is amazing, really, for sure.
Can I get it fixed yesterday?
One of my favorites. Right next to, can you put the bike on the phone, please?
Oh, yeah. So the other big thing at Sea Otter, we kind of got the read of the industry. Most folks are pretty positive. So bike companies are struggling. But like, I was looking at the media the first day I was there, and people were calling out Kona had a booth and then just shut down.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk.
But it was like, also
news,
speaking of Black Box, there was a lot of talk there. Like, nobody knew what was going on. But then kind of heard afterwards the company was shutting, right? Credit cards were being shut down. That's wild.
Seemed dire, yeah. But in the end, all good news, it seems.
Yeah, that's the news that just came out. What are you talking about?
Back with the founders. Seems, at least last I read, they'll be moving offices back to the Pacific Northwest, back in the hands of the founders. They wrote a letter to the industry in Brain, but I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Yeah, I haven't had the time. I barely looked at it. Yeah.
I think I read a quick rundown of it. It does seem like, they bought it back. Their intention is to go back to doing business the
Nothing
way
but steel bikes.
They didn't say that. That's for sure. That'd be cool if they did that. But no, they seem like the plan is to go back to doing business the way that Kona did before it was sold to Kent. So I think they're going to hire a bunch of their ex-employees back, try to streamline things at the same time to decrease the cost of the bikes. They already shut down their direct-to-consumer sales pipeline with a focus on going 100% back through bicycle shops, IBDs.
It's rocky there,
That's
man.
Great.
Like, very rocky. Long time Kona dealers, like, calling it quits was
For sure.
really weird to see.
For sure. And I think they even made the point to say, we're lowering prices because we know that's what's needed. And we will be sure to never offer a 2-for-1 deal on bicycles again.
Yeah.
Like that is, I actually at Sea Otter, I heard plenty, or I guess it was since then, people were saying like, yeah, call it a Kona deal. It's a 2-for-1. It's not 50% off, but we are trying to move some bikes really fast here. That's a pretty wild sale that they ran. Anyways, we're stoked to see the original owners back and kind of bringing Kona back to their history. I think it has a lot of legs to still be successful. I think my opinion is with that news, I can see it going back to its kind of previous success. They can get back a lot of those customers, get back the same bike shop support they had.
Yeah, legendary brand.
Hey, Pete, what Kona do you have?
You love to call that one out. I've got a Huma Huma Nuku Nuku Apua Ai. It's a beach cruiser, single speed beach cruiser.
Loop tail
cruiser, loop cruiser, yeah.
Kid bike.
Kid hauler these days.
Hauler.
It's put a lot of miles. It's got a lot of miles on it. I had a coaster brake on it, and I was riding this beach cruiser down UC Santa Cruz, which is a huge, massive hill. I ended up putting high temperature brake grease in the hub because I was melting the grease out of it, like dragging the brake for like 3 miles and like 2,000 feet down the hill every day. So now it's got like a 2-speed kickback hub on it. It's actually really
Awesome.
cool too. Yeah.
You're
One of
on a
those
Kona,
hubs.
dude. You're on the
Yeah, other end of the spectrum.
what is that plum crazy looking thing called again?
Libre CRDL. Yeah, my quarantine build. It's got some funky bits on it. It's a fun bike though. I ride the hell out of it.
That's one with 50 C gravel tires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sick.
Yep. Yeah, I do. I've actually never ridden a mountain bike at La Tierra. I've only ever ridden that bike there.
Nice. That's the local in-town mountain bike spot, but it's pretty mellow, so it's really good for gravel too.
It's a ripper on a gravel bike.
I mean, there's dirt jumps. I'm sure you don't hit those.
Yeah, hustle and flow.
Yeah, cool.
The easy one.
Pull up for the double on your gravel bike. The triple, actually.
I've seen you ride the gnarliest mountain bike trails on that bike, though. I know it's doable.
Yeah, one of our first rides in town, that little drop-off wilderness gate in the dark. I didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah.
Had just enough beers in me to go, hey,
Cool. Speaking of new bikes, I just ordered a new bike. Pretty excited about it. I haven't had a mountain bike in almost 6 months, 5 months. I'm really excited about it, actually. I ordered a Forbidden Druid. It's going to be a little weird. I'm not sure it's going to be great, but I took the plunge. Give it a try.
So we know 2 people that have owned those. One enjoyed it and one not so much.
That's right. Both had the V1 bike. So a true single pivot. This new one's not a true single pivot. But Yeah, I think I do like to ride some janky hiker trails, and I've been having fun like struggling up some technical climbs lately. So I think both of those could play well with the weird high pivot trail bike. I was originally thinking of getting a bike with more suspension because I just got rid of a Yeti SB130, which didn't feel like enough in many cases. But
I just rode one of those. This was SB40.
There's a new one. Mine was like 3
sweet.
years old, right? So it was the SB130. And the new one is a little more travel.
Yeah, I'm used to bikes with a little more travel than that, but that thing was very poppy, very snappy. Yeah.
So I think this Forbidden's going to be the opposite of that. Not super poppy, not super snappy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a demo, and I could have spent some time with it, and I knew the adjustment was there.
That Yeti bike pedaled really super good, like super snappy, like you say. But I could see like my friends riding away from me on like just straight rough chunk. It was no brakes from anybody. So I knew that something was like slowing that bike down a little bit. Anyways, the Forbidden's not more travel, which is
I got to pedal around. Lucas, by the way, had one of those, and I think it's sweet.
The Yeti or the Forbidden?
I'm thinking about your bike that you just built up. Yeah, the Droid, right?
Yeah, I haven't built it. It hasn't been delivered yet.
Yeah.
Are you building it up?
I bought a complete. Yeah, here's what I thought was kind of cool to talk about on the podcast, actually. I bought a complete, and I ended up getting just the GX, T-Type GX version, which is a sweet drivetrain that I really wanted. But it has the RockShox Select, the lower-end RockShox fork and shock on it. I did some digging on this because I'm not the RockShox buyer. I can't say I'm perfectly versed on it, but I found out it has the rear shock has the same damper, just not the same adjustments. It doesn't have rebound, it has a rebound adjustment. It doesn't not have a compression or threshold or anything else adjustment. So rebound only, that's going to be a little weird. And the fork, I think, is the same, rebound only with no buttercups. But here's what I'm kind of stoked on. I think I can just buy the upgrade cartridge and give it the buttercup thing for pretty inexpensive. And I was thinking of making the fork 160 anyway, so I can buy the air cartridge travel upgrade, a debonair, and it'll also have a buttercup. So I'll end up having the high-end suspension, kind of at a fraction of the cost.
In a lower-end chassis.
In a lower-end
chassis. Years ago.
Yeah, those were great. I mean, you still can do that with the Yari. Yeah, there's a bunch of really cool upgrades for Yaris.
One of the things that RockShox really excels at is the cross-compatibility of internals is really excellent. That's a great plan.
I'm kind of stoked to have the buttercup thing. So,
relatively new.
I'm excited. I'm excited to ride it. Yeah, I want to hop on that.
So yeah, we'll see. I'll probably ride it for a while first before doing that, but I think that'll be a kind of a cool upgrade and get a bunch of the benefits without all the money, I guess. That's the plan.
At least not up front, yeah. It's a great way to get into a rock-solid bike. Pretty affordable approach.
I think in my mind, that's going to be cheaper than getting something with high-end, either a frame only or something with high-end suspension, but a lower-end drivetrain and trying to redo the whole drivetrain. That's expensive. But like adding a cartridge in here or there seems like a cool way to do it.
Hairspring, piston, damper. Yeah.
Exactly.
Easy peasy. Yeah.
I mean, the damper's not super cheap, but from your factory service experience, is there anything else I'm missing? If I did those 2 upgrades, that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Just 6-pack of beer, brother.
Yeah,
that's right.
Right.
A little bit of this to bless it,
Of course, yeah.
Handful of dirt maybe, but
should I do that upgrade by myself is the question, or should I bring it to factory service to do it? It's a full damper rebuild. That's pretty high end.
Would it be?
Service. I'm putting a new damper cartridge in.
You would just drop one in. Yeah, I mean that's as easy as unthreading the old one, taking it out during the course of a lower service, and dropping a new one in.
Putting all new oil in, though, of course.
It'll come pre-bled.
So the damper is sealed up, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that. I thought
the Charger 3, I'm assuming, is the one you're looking at. Yeah, no, that's an easy install. It's basically just torquing down the top cap and then slapping the lowers back on. Air spring will be a little bit more involved. You'll have a circlip at the bottom of your CSU. Pull that off, air spring comes out. You'll have to re-grease and maybe drop a little bit of lubricating fluid in around the piston, but easy.
When I started thinking about that, I kind of was expecting that answer, but it made me think about like how many folks I've heard of that get new forks, whether OE or just like from the manufacturer, that have like 3 extra tablespoons of grease in the bottom. It's not that bad of a thing for people to do fairly early on in your fork's life, is like to have a service done to put the appropriate amount of grease in there, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, often it's the case that there's too little.
Yeah.
From the factory. And that's not a good thing. That's something that you want to address before it causes permanent damage to your CS.
Your brand new fork.
Yeah.
Grease or a Reese's peanut butter cup.
A little bit of olive oil in there.
Smear it in there.
Get it in there. The bike mechanic's favorite, the hot dog. Slap a hot dog in the air spring.
We could get into the weeds. I think we've actually had some really cool insights with like the variety of manufacturers that we dealt with. Like you and I, Derek, have talked a whole bunch with Bike Yoke, who's giving us this really in-depth look at some of the greases and oils that they've researched, and they're recommending for their own product. And I know they're like, if we want just the most smooth fork, not to talk about damping specifically, but just like the lack of stick at the beginning and end, they're putting in this anti-stick additive to their oil. We could be dropping that into our damper fluid or lubricating our seals with that. Yeah.
Dropping it in damper fluid might change the weight of the fluid and change the performance of the damper.
Exactly, yeah.
In a way that would be hard to, I don't know, I predict. I'm sure there's a published weight of this additive RSP no slip stick. I think I said that right. It's a bit of a tongue twister.
For sure, that's it. But yeah, I mean, that's the stuff that's published on Bike Yoke's website. And now we sell like the fluid mixed already. Mm-hmm. But there is that stuff out there you can just add to anything.
As an anti-friction agent, I mean, it's superb. I mean, you're doing a fork lowers, why not mix a little bit of that in with your lubricating fluid?
Especially the lowers where it's not actually doing damping.
Yeah, there's no compression of that oil. It's purely lubrication.
So that's kind of a cool side note. Something I think if you're just trying to like talk about optimize your performance, you want
to talk about lost in the weeds. Yeah. Go all night about this.
Exactly.
About this thing.
Anyways, yeah, I'm stoked to try to feel this new bike out. Of course, that's, I was actually telling my kid was asking me, Dad, why did you get rid of your bike? Like, why can't we go ride together? I'm like, well, I just want to ride something new. That's kind of half the fun in some cases, is figuring out this new thing and how it rides. So anyways, that's why I decided to take the plunge on something quite a bit different.
Sure. I mean, a new bike will definitely throw some unique challenges at you.
We'll see how it goes, but stoked to try it. All right. Speaking of bikes, we all rode some bikes recently or did some bike events and stuff. Let's maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Jake, you did quite the event down south.
Oh, yeah. The old Weed Sack 140, 150. Headed down there with Brian from Two Wheel Drive, and lots of friendly faces down there. It's a really cool scene. Second year doing it, and just very beautiful folks.
Give us some details. You just said down south. It's called the Weed Sack. Why is it named that? Where is it?
The Weed Sack. So I believe, Matt from Monumental Loop and maybe some other folks put the loop together. And they call it the Weed Sack because it's in the Sacramento Mountains, and you ride your bike through the town of Weed. And I think that's kind of the hint there. I don't know, but. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a sweet bike packing route, 140 miles.
Yeah. I think the route changed to 150. We did about 115, 120 this time around. A couple rocky shortcuts. But the ride is amazing. A mix of forest roads, I guess what you could call gravel, New Mexican gravel. It's not really gravel.
Yeah, rocky.
Yeah.
2-track.
Some single track is in there too. There's alternate routes if you
yeah.
want more spicy track, of course. And yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful down there. It's very clean.
Interesting.
Yeah, the Texans keep it clean down there. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, my view of the Sacramento Mountains is like rugged rock. There's like not, from what I've seen, not even that much vegetation, but I know that really varies where you're at. It's a bigger range, but
it's pretty rugged.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was it was there's some spice down there for sure. Yeah.
So was it a positive trip? Did it all, like, everything
It
went
was
perfect?
awesome.
Or
It
what?
was awesome. It ended up riding with a group of dudes who have bike packed before with, and it was awesome. Tons of climbing, and
I mean, anything with 140 miles, it's going to be climbing.
Yeah.
Right? And in like
Yeah.
what we're talking about, steep, rugged mountains. Like,
yeah, everyone was having a good time though. That's for sure. I'd probably bring the mountain bike again. I did it on the Monte La Roca last year with 2 6s. And
what'd you ride this year?
I rode the Sklar
New bike, got to ride it.
29 2.2, I believe, on there now. And it obviously was faster, probably, maybe not. Excuse me. But it was a good time. The Sklar was just a little getting knocked around on the spicy sections, whereas the La Roca was just a couch down the mountain.
Both bikes are rigid though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just tire differences and
Yeah.
geometry and stuff.
Yeah.
What gearing is on the Sklar?
It's got a
Mountain bike style gearing?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like a SRAM Apex group of some sort, flat bar on this specific build. So
But what's
1
the
by
front?
11.
What's the front chainring? That's what I want to know.
I want to say